Hey, this is After Production Erica. On today's episode, I had the pleasure of interviewing Keshawn. And during the interview, there was a lag during our conversation, which was incredibly unfortunate. And I caught myself talking over him more times than I would like because there was the lag there. I was trying to give some buffer room, but I didn't want to leave too much. And I'm still trying to learn as I grow as a podcaster. And then also, podcasting at its finest, I pronounced his business name wrong, even though I was looking at it. It's Paw Fect. Paw Fect. I think I said Paw Perfect in the interview, but it's PAWFECT. Poop Removal. This was a wonderful interview. I really, truly enjoyed chatting with him, and I was really grateful that he was able to give me some of his time and to share his story. So I just wanted to let you know that before we get into the actual interview. I really hope that Mr. Producer is able to work some magic and fix it. So I'm not talking over him as much as I think that I did. So, all right, we're going to hop into the interview. What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Kruppen, and on today's episode, we have a guest. We love guests on the Scoop Podcast. We have Keshawn with Paw Perfect Poop Removal. What's up?
Hey, nothing much. How are you?
I'm good. Did I say your business name correctly?
You were very close. It's Paw Fect Poop Removal.
Paw Perfect. Please tell me, do other people do that, or is it just me?
All the time. All the time.
Okay.
I should have named the company that, but it's too late now.
Yeah. Well, same thing with Krupin's Poop and Scoopin'. It gets messed up constantly, and it's just like, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, just it's all good.
Well, I'm sorry for butchering your name, but I'm really appreciative that you are on the podcast. You have been a business owner and an individual that I've been wanting to get on for quite some time. So I'm really happy that we were able to link our schedules up.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
All right. Could you please give our listeners a rundown of who you are and basically when you got started in business?
Of course. So I've had Paw Fect since 2021. And before I go into that, my background, I've been in banking for almost 10 years now. So it started, I was listening to Side Hustle Nation, and it was your podcast. You was talking about it. And I was like, you know what? This is something I can do. I can do it on the weekends, bring in some extra cash, help pay for school. So for the first 2 years, we only operated Saturdays and Sundays for 2 years. And I didn't, we did door hangers, we did flyers, we did events, but no Google ads, no Facebook marketing, none of that stuff. So when I graduated college, mid 2023, I called my best friend and I was like, "Hey, let's do this. Will you be my first full time employee? Like whatever you're paying, I'll match it. Let's blow this up." And that's how it started. He's been there since day one, and he was my first employee. He's my manager now, and that is how we got started. And it's been great. If I would have known about this before, I wouldn't have gone to college. So it's
Yeah, that's tough. Going back to the Side Hustle Nation, I'm so incredibly grateful that I did that podcast and did that interview. When I was working at the hospital, I would listen to the Side Hustle Nation and I would like dream about starting a business and getting out of the hospital. And I was stocking, they were called Omni cells at the time. And I really enjoyed stocking those because I could just zone out because I just did not love my job. And I decided I was like, I want to be on his podcast. I have to figure out. So I remember sitting down on my old busted couch that we bought off some lady that was like sold it off of the back of a truck. And I was on this little like laptop that I had to finance. It was a $300 laptop and I financed it for $100 a month because I didn't even have money to like pay for it outright. And I remember sending that email to Nick Lopper, and I was like, "Hey," gave the whole spiel. And then a couple months later, he had reached out to me and brought me on the podcast. And I was just like, this is crazy. And because of that, so many people have been able to start their businesses and essentially change their lives. And you're one of them. And this is amazing. I'm not gonna cry, but I want to.
Well, thank you because of you, I am where I'm at today. So it's cool to be on this podcast with you, and I mean, you're the reason I started this. So
Woo! Well, this is great. So, okay, so your first employee was your buddy. You decided to blow it up. So from then until now, how many trucks do you have?
we have eight. So we started with one, and we have eight. So before we got the first truck, I was scooping out of a Elantra. We would fold down the back seats. We had the poop in the very back and the tools in the second row of the vehicle.
Woo!
And
Let's talk about the summertime with the poop in the car.
let me tell you,
Tell
Texas
me.
heat, windows rolled down, everything. It was something. And those initial cleanings, you have 20 bags of poop in the back seat. Like you can turn around and like almost touch the bags of poop. So it was so many days I wanted to quit because of that factor. Like windows roll down, there's nothing you can do. You smell it. You get home, and I go in the house, and like I smell it like on my clothes.
Mhm.
So it was when I bought my first truck, it was like the greatest thing ever.
You're like, "Praise Jesus.
Yes,
God is good." What
yes.
okay, so you were in banking, and this sounds crazy. When you have, like, a professional job, right, and then all of a sudden you're like, "I'm gonna scoop some dog poop." Like, what was going through your mind to get you through those hot summers?
So I'm still doing banking. So I never quit my 9 to 5 job. I decided to build it around my banking.
Okay, perfect.
uh, schedule, uh, because banking has good hours. But what motivated me to keep pushing was, in corporate, there's only so how high you can go in
Mhm.
banking, right? And then you hit your peak, and that is all you're gonna make. With the business, you make how much you want to make. Like you decide when you want to stop growing. So having the opportunity to grow a business, it's not that many companies out there. It was okay. Next year we can double. Next year we can double, and I can make more money than I'm making when I have to tell my boss, "Hey, can I take this day off? Hey, can I leave early today?" So it was one of those. Keep pushing, do the work now. 10 years later, it's a different life.
Yeah, so you were looking long term. Have you always thought that way, like long term?
No, I haven't. Because the first 2 years, it was literally, hey, I'm gonna make 500 bucks a weekend, help pay for school, and then I'm gonna just fold the business. I wasn't thinking of
Mhm.
selling it. It was just side cash. And then it didn't click until, hey, like we grew. I think after 2 years, we had 285 customers without spending like Facebook ads, Google ads. It was a word of mouth, flyers. So me and my buddy, I would drive, I'll go scoop a yard, and then he'll go pass out flyers to the neighbors' houses while I scoop a yard. So every house I scoop, there was like 5 houses getting flyers. And we would do that every single time we went out to go scoop. And that's how we got almost 280 customers by doing that. And it kind of built the dense route because I wasn't paying myself, I was paying him. But okay, next week, oh, now we have that house and the house 2 houses down. And we kept doing that, and we kept targeting the same areas, the same neighborhoods. So we had, 10 houses in the same neighborhood takes us an hour and a half to service. And that's how we started and how we built it.
That's really smart. So, okay, while you're like, what is a standard size yard in your area? How long does that take to scoop?
7, 8 minutes.
In and out from like start to finish?
Get out the truck when you're back cleaning the tools. About 7, 8 minutes.
All right, so how many houses are you guys averaging per hour?
Per tech is about 4 to 5.
Woo! And then what is your like base scoop at? Like what are you charging per week?
So weekly starts at 17.99.
You guys do the math. That's excellent money per hour.
Yes.
Okay, so you're able to build this route density. Um, how many flyers were they able to hand out when you were back there scooping? Like, are you just doing like 5 rounds or 10 rounds around the house that you're servicing?
So for each stop, it was about 5 or 6 flyers passed out.
Okay, and what was on these flyers?
We just had a big QR code. Poop. This is 4 years ago, so we was charging like 12.99 per
Yeah.
visit, and it was like we scoop dog poop, scan here. We can come out the next day or whatever. We had some slogan like they poop, we scoop. Like the T-shirt says, it was something just we scoop dog poop. Very simple. Had a phone number, a website, and a QR code. And the QR code took you to the sign up page, and that was it.
Now, if people called you, were you answering the phone right away or were they going to voicemail?
It was going to voicemail. It
Okay.
took about a good year until we was answering like every phone call. But we'll get the missed call and then we'll call back.
Okay. Yeah, because I want to say, like, in the beginning, it was very similar for me, but I feel like the landscape has changed. So, how would you say things have changed? Like, how are things now versus 4 years ago? What have you seen the difference?
There's a new company popping up every day. And so I'm in San Antonio, and there's 2 million people in this area, and we expanded to Austin as well. So we just have a bigger, you know, population to service. But every day I see like another poop company popping up like down the block. Uh, every single day they're following like the Instagram page, and it's like, hey, like, oh, you're my neighbor now. So so that's, I think that's the biggest thing, and I think there's more awareness to the service itself. So there's more people like recognizing like, hey, this is a real service. Because 4 years ago, almost 90% of the customers would say, hey, like, I didn't know this was a real thing. So I think the new companies that are coming in are just bringing awareness to the poop industry, and there's enough poop for all of us.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what your thought is on air quotes like competition, and I feel the same way. I mean, obviously, we want all the customers, but we can't service all of the customers. So it's like if we can all work together and uplift the industry in general, I think it's going to be really good just as a community altogether.
Most definitely. Well, when you look at like power washing companies, land like lawn care, there's thousands of companies in your area. In poop, you maybe have 10, 11 companies. So it's not, I want to say it's too competitive yet, but we'll
Yeah.
see what 10 years from now it looks like.
Right. Have you noticed a lot of landscapers adding this service?
A lot of franchise landscapers, and there's a company nearby. They're a pest control company, and they're doing poop removal as well. So it's
Hmm.
fun
What
times.
what's their price point? Are they lower? Are they higher?
It's very low. It's I don't know how they're making money off of poop removal, but I know like this one lawn care company is charging like $10 to do poop removal, and it's like how can you afford that? But unless they're just upping their lawn care prices
I was gonna say
to offset.
if they're piggybacking, like they're going and doing the lawn and scooping the poop and they're doing like a upcharge for $10, that makes sense. But if they're
Mhm.
doing it like off route, that's I mean that they're not gonna make money.
Yeah, well, I stalked that company, and they do it the same visit. So like they'll scoop the dog poop and then take care of your yard.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more common, let's say 10 years from now. I think a lot of the landscapers are realizing that they have a lot of overhead. It's harder to make money and this doesn't have as high as overhead and they already have the customers. Why not offer the service? But not every landscaper is down with scoop and poop because not every person can handle the dog poop, the smell, the even the complaints, man. Some these complaints, it's like we scoop so much poop, and then if it's like if you miss one nugget, like you get that one person that just rips you apart, and then you're like, "I'm the
Yes.
worst pooper scooper ever. I do a terrible job."
I had one of those today, and it was mind blowing. Like she took a video too, and it was like her grass was high. It was like up to your calf, and it's like if I have to move grass to find the poop, then you know what can we really do? But we sent someone back out there. We handle it. But speaking of the lawn care, last year I rolled out lawn care only to our poop customers. So springtime is spring rush, right? So I overstaffed my employees. So I always had like one or two extra guys. So when people will call and say, "Hey, can you move this day because of my lawn care comes this day?" We would say, "Hey, well, we offer lawn care as well. Um, what are they charging you?" And then we'll cut like $5. And then we built up. I think we last year we had 75 houses that was lawn
Wow.
care, and we didn't advertise for it. It was our customers who were looking for lawn care, and we took it over. So it kind of helped with overstaffing and not wasting payroll
Mhm.
during the spring rush. So it worked out perfectly. And it's
Okay.
we're not doing lawn care, we're not doing trees or any fertilizer or anything like
Mhm.
that. It just mow, cut, edge, clean up, simple cuts. If you
Now
want
did you
someone to
sorry.
go ahead.
So, there was a lag there, so my apologies. That's I was gonna ask you, like, how did you, were these people trained that you hired? Like, how did they know how to mow and to lay good stripes and edge?
So when I was 13, I started a lawn care company, and it was called Keshawn's Lawn Care. And I used to pull my wagon around the neighborhood and cut yards. So I trained two guys how to cut yards, and they're the two guys that do it. So it
That
was.
that's amazing. Okay, so, like, have you done hiring before? Because this seems like it's very, like, natural to you, like, you just know how to grow a team, you know how to hire people. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Hiring is so difficult. I feel like you can spend hours going through resumes, doing interviews, and then they ghost you when it comes to the
Mhm.
interview time. Like no one shows up, or they last one day, and it's, oh, this job is too overwhelming, or it's too fast paced, and I think it's a simple job. So what I did to kind of retain employees longer, I did like a scorecard where it's broken into three categories: uh, customer complaints, how you're driving, because we've been in like 3 car accidents. So I have dash cams and all that fun stuff because car accidents are not fun. But how you're driving, and the last one is how many houses you service for the month. So based on your scorecard, that's how you get bonuses. And I do a lower base pay, but a big bonus opportunity. And then we do a lot of team bonding events because we work by ourselves. They keep their trucks at their houses. So like we don't really see each other. So
Right.
we try to get together every other month, once a quarter when we have time. So we're having a team bonding event the beginning of March, right before it gets crazy busy, and then we're gonna have one at the beginning of summer once everything cools down and it's 115 degrees here in Texas. So it's to keep everyone moving and motivated. But um, I either have employees that will stay like a year, or I have employees that will stay like 3 weeks. There's like no middle point. It's
That's so true, that's the same with me. Either same thing or I've had to let them go for one reason or another. And it was painful, when you have to let somebody go that actually, like, sticks it out, and it's like, "Oh, you've been with me for a long time, but, like, you did this, so unfortunately you gotta go."
But
It's
I
the
think
car
hiring is,
accidents. It's the car accidents, man. That's what gets me.
yes, or it's, we have dash cameras in the cars, and why are you texting when you're looking at a camera? Like, and I've told you before, I
Yeah.
sent you a screenshot of you texting and driving, and you continue to do it. Like, but it it's employees, and I
Are
just
you
think
hiring younger people? Are they younger or are they older?
it's a good mix. I
Okay.
it's a good mix. Um, younger people and tend to job hop more, as in if they see Amazon is hiring for $1 more, hey, I'm going over here. Versus older people, in my experiences, I'll stick it through. Or, if it's flexible, if I can um, have, we make it very flexible. So, like, routes go live at 7 a.m. You just need to start by 8 a.m. every morning. So,
Yeah.
the people that want to be done early, 7 o'clock, I get the notification. They're already in the truck. They're going to the first house. And then you have some people that start in at 7:55, 7:59. As long as it's not 8:01, I'm okay. Like, you have an hour window to, have the flexibility to, you know, not make your own schedule, but it's not micromanaged. Like, 7 o'clock, you need to be out.
Now with the company vehicle, since they keep them at their home, do they get to drive them off the clock?
They start at their house, they do the route, they go to one of our dump spots, they go back home in a day.
How did you secure your dump spots, if you don't mind me asking?
Partnerships. So, like, apartment complexes that we do, I offer like a nice discount to be able to use their dumpsters, uh, groomers, um, vet clinics. They always have dogs. Hey, we'll come and scoop it every day. If we can use a dumpster. I have a buddy that has a mobile, not a mobile, but it's a tent shop. He tents windows, and he has a dumpster. So I was like, hey, like, I'll pay you $300 if I can use your dumpster. And he was like, yeah, that's money for me, and so we have locations all over town.
That's really smart because I know I was running into the issue where I would have a route like 25 miles away, and then my dump spot is like at this one location. So they're driving like clear across town to have to dump and then go back to their house. And I was like, oh, that's stupid. Such a waste of money and time.
Yeah, well, when you factor in what you're paying, like the partnerships, it's worth it. When you factor in like every day they have to drive out 20 minutes to go dump and go back home because you have to pay them for it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I love the partnership idea. So just reaching out to other people. I don't haul the waste away anymore, but a lot of people ask me about this and I'm like, I didn't know if things changed or if it was still kind of the same with just reaching out to your contacts, people that you know. And so how does that pitch go for somebody that is like nervous and they're like, I'm afraid to ask to use somebody's dumpster for poop. How do you pitch it?
I don't like to do it over the phone with all the scams that are happening. I like to go in person and say, hey, I walk in and say, hey, I own a poop company. We need places to dump our poop. Um, I see you have a dumpster. Do you mind if we pay you to use your dumpster? Or can we offer services to you or whoever in return to using it? And either they say yes or they say no. And then you just move on. But I typically drive past that dumpster, like 10 times before I even go inside to see like if it's ever full, if it's, the lid is open and stuff is coming out, because then that defeats the purpose, right? If we can't use it because it's full. But
Yeah.
that's
That's so funny. I used to do the same thing, like eyeball the dumpster, and I actually eyeball, porta potties. I'll be like, "Oh, that's a good one. Need to make a note of that while I'm out on route." That's funny. Alright, so you said that you had expanded your area. How large is your service area at this time?
we service San Antonio through Austin. So it's like three cities: San Antonio, New Braunfels, and Austin. And we're in
Okay,
like South Austin. So not like Georgetown or um, Leander. We're more South Austin. So like the Buddha, Cow. Uh,
okay,
Austin is weird. So it's split in like two. You have North Austin, you have like Austin. So we're in
okay,
like
that makes sense.
Austin through San Antonio. So I have two trucks out in Austin, one in New Braunfels, and then the rest is in San Antonio.
Okay, so the folks that are out there, since they're coming from their house or doing a round trip, how are you handling routing with them? Like, do you have they live there, so you're gonna break them up into like different areas, like Monday through Friday, or are they just servicing the same area all throughout the week?
The same area. So like the Austin guys, they stay in Austin. They don't come down unless you have like an emergency, someone calls in sick, and I already have someone like on PTO. So like hey, you're coming to Austin or you're coming to San Antonio today. Uh, Same thing for Austin. If someone calls in sick and the other guy is on vacation, then I have to send someone up from San Antonio that day. But
Okay. Okay. How many houses are they servicing, per week or per day?
the top performers do about 35 a day, and then you have like the lower end, like 20 to 25.
I'm your lower end. I move slow.
I,
We have
I
large
actually,
yards here.
okay, well, we have like cookie cutter homes. So it's very small. Like you can walk the yard in 4 minutes. But
I can't wrap my head around that. When I hear people say that, I'm like, "What? Like, how small are we talking here?" I need to see a picture.
yeah, I love it. So I don't like neighborhoods with gates or like security guards. It's not worth it. It takes too long. You're waiting in line. You're driving in a neighborhood for like 5 minutes to get to their house. Like I like to get out the highway into your neighborhood, jump out the car, start scooping.
So what would you say, like, the majority of your customers, are they, like, upper class, middle class, lower class, or do you have a nice little mixture?
Middle class. So I
Mhm.
like to target those that are just had like their first kid. They're in their late 20s, mid 30s. They have two kids, three kids. They're both working. And this is more of a chore that they don't have to do. Like they have their kids playing outside and they don't want their kids to step in poop and bring it inside. So I feel like that's like the sweet spot because it's not massive homes. They're typically smaller homes, backyard, and it's easy to scoop. I really
I
don't
learned
like
that
the
the Go ahead. There's a lag, I'm sorry.
I don't like the big yards with pools and uh, stuff like that. It just messes up your grid walking. So I like nothing in the backyard, just a nice little square rectangle yards.
It's true because I learned a hard lesson. I moved out here to Northville, my office, and I really was thinking, like, in my mind, I'm like, "I'm gonna get these higher end clienteles. It's gonna be so great." It is not. It is not great. It's not working for me. These yards are massive. And it's higher end, and a lot of them do have gated communities, and they're like estates. You gotta deal with the gates. You gotta deal with these big yards, and then the dogs wanna poop, like, 2 or 3 piles in, like, the grassy area, and then you have to go over by the pool, and it's just like you said, there's too much going on, and the price point has to be so high that they're like, "I'll just pay my gardener to do it."
Exactly. We have this one house in San Antonio. It's called like the Dominion, and it's a big neighborhood. And they have 3 yards, which is mind blowing. They have like their side yard, they have the yard for with like the pool, and then they have like a dog yard. And they're like, "Hey, I need you to scoop all three because when we're outside with the dogs, they're in the pool area. And then sometimes we're in the side yard because I'm doing my gardening. Uh, the dogs out there too, and it doesn't make sense. It just takes too long, and you wait. You have to go through the security gate. You can't go through the main gate. You have to go through the contractor's gate, and you wait in line for 10 minutes. Then you drive 10 minutes in the neighborhood. Then you drive like 2 minutes up their long driveway, and I don't like it.
Yep, I
So
hear you. Lesson learned. I've learned my lesson. Okay, so earlier you mentioned something about like your commercial. So what would you say your ratio is between residential and commercial properties?
85% is residential.
Okay, what do you like better?
Residential.
Mhm. Okay, do you do installs or
I do.
just okay?
I do installs. I like commercial. I just don't like the process with the commercial properties. I'm just not really a big fan of it. It's just we have some large commercial contracts, and I'm just not a fan of them.
I like the commercial when it comes to just maintaining the stations. I don't enjoy the large scooping of, like, the large green space. That's what I don't enjoy because it's they can be so massive, and then you have to wait net 15, net 30, or sometimes they are trying to, like, net 60 you, and it's like, "That's not happening. I won't work with you."
I had this one apartment complex and it was like net 90. And it was like 3 months of, of not receiving payment. And
And then they
I
want you to have the
so
top of the line insurance too on top of it. It's like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And then you wanna hold my money for 90 days? Get out of here.
So I do like neighborhoods, like commercial neighborhoods. I'm cool with that. It's the apartments I really don't like because they, like you have one person go poop on the sidewalk, and it's like, well, we were there this morning. You have 300 tenants. Like once we leave, there's gonna be poop again, and we're scooping everywhere. And then once the tenants find out, oh, we're paying for pooper scoopers, they're never going to scoop poop again.
Never.
Like the stations are empty. It's just they just letting their dogs poop, and we're scooping it. So, like neighborhoods, I'm okay with that. Like I'll do that all day long. But when it comes to apartments and with like my technicians too, it's you can have one technician that'll take 45 minutes to do that apartment complex, and then someone else will take like an hour 30. And it's, oh, I forgot to go and do this pet station, or oh, I need to go back, or I got lost. Even though I map it out for them, like when you get here, you need to park here. You're gonna walk this way by building 4. You're gonna see the pool. It. I just don't think it's worth uh, the hassle, in my opinion. I'd rather have another 30 residential clients.
I hear you. Do you number your stations when you have several of them in a community?
I do.
Okay. That helped me and that helped with training. Um, yeah, I do. It's like it's a mixture. I have one apartment complex that I went out and checked it last week, I think, and I was actually really excited about it. I was like, "Oh, I want this. Like, this is a massive opportunity." I got there. It was so bad. The complex in general, like there were some that were boarded up. One was half burnt down. I was like, I just don't think that this is a safe place. And so I asked my husband, I was like, "Hey, is this part of the city, is this, like, safe?" And he's like, Not really. I wouldn't leave your truck unlocked." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Then maybe it's not the right fit for me." And the guy hasn't reached back out to me, and I haven't said anything, so I don't know what's gonna happen. So, sometimes you just have to pick and choose and decide what's the right fit for your company, that's for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so you said that some of your staff, like, it would take 45 minutes or an hour and a half. How do you set your standard for how fast you want a property scooped? And then how do you handle the folks that move slower?
So I think it goes back to the scorecards that I have. So each stop has how long it should take, and they basically get graded based on how long they take. So you still service the property. You're only doing 23, 24. Well, the technician who's doing 34, 35 houses a day in the same amount of time, their bonuses are, 3 times the bonus of someone else. And I have older trucks. I have like a 2001 Ford Ranger that's still running. And then I have the new 2025 Ford Mavericks. And based on the ratings of like the scorecards, they get to pick their trucks. So the best performers are, they got the big touchscreen. They have, they have all the bells
Yeah.
and whistles. And I have like a 2011 Ford Ranger that doesn't have radio. It's it's it doesn't have radio. So you, if you're the top performer, which truck do you want? And it goes down the line. So it kind of motivates people in a sense of what you get and what you what you have to take.
So you have to be super intentional to keep track of all that. Is that what your manager is doing now? He tracks all of that for you?
Yes, he does. So
Okay.
every month we keep track of how many houses a technician scooped, how many miles they drove. Because I'm weird like that. I like to know like how much they're driving. You know, it's just keeps tracks of the gas. So we use Coast Pay. I don't know if you heard of Coast Pay, but Coast Pay is like our gas card. And every time you use the gas card, you have to put in the license plate number. You have to put in how many miles. You fill it up, and then you take a photo of the gas pump or the receipt, and you keep track of the gas. So it's an easy way. It's called Coast Pay. It's an easy way to keep track of gas. And the reason why I started doing that was I had an employee who was stealing gas. So they would put like 15 bucks in, and then 2 days later, they would put another 15 bucks in, but it was in their personal car because they had a gas card. And I finally caught up to it. But now it's Coast Pay. Check it out. It's amazing. But in Coast Pay, it tells you um, how many miles have they driven since the last fill up. When you do like oil changes and everything, you can see it based on when they did the transaction. So it helps me with like oil changes, maintenance, almost everything.
You're a data person, aren't you?
I am. I'm a weird numbers person. You know, it's last month you drove 1,500 miles. Why do you drive 2,000 miles this time? You know, like you did the exact same route. Like what is happening? So it's I like to look at the numbers of things.
Well, that's important. I mean, you've been able to scale your business quickly. And I think, a lot of people get in a business and they're not numbers people, they're not detail people. They're like, I can just do the work. I can scoop. That's me. I can scoop, I can figure it out. But when it comes to the numbers and the details, I think that's what holds a lot of us back from getting out of the field or getting past that $250,000 a year. Because you can do 250 by yourself. Well, maybe like a part-timer. You can do that, like, with yourself and a part-timer, but to get to that next level in this business, I really do think that you need to be able to track all of that because that is going to allow you to hire more staff, and like you were saying, I wanted to circle back that you have, like, overflow staff. That's huge. So can we talk about that a little bit? Because I'm sure that creates a lot of peace of mind for you guys,
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yeah, so since I have a 9 to 5, like if someone calls in, I can't go scoop. Like I'm in the office meeting with clients. So my manager is the back office on standby. So if someone, I basically have one extra person at all times. So if someone calls in, then I can reroute the routes and all the houses are being taken care of. But what would happen is I have someone that's taking the week off or they're off this day for whatever reason, and then someone else calls in, and now I have 35 houses I can't hit. So how do you deal with that? I can't just put 35 houses to the next day. Like it would just be, a rollover.
Right.
So I have my manager who is back office. He does a lot of the phone calls, almost everything back office, and he just that extra layer of peace of mind, knowing, hey, this person called in and all the house is still going to be taken care of. And he's really good. And he'll bring like the technicians tacos in the morning, or he'll go and drop off Gatorade. Just try to keep it like a good team, even though we're like so independent working. So
You
it's
said that
like the
this
glue.
this was your friend, right? Now, did
Yes.
you know that he was good like this when you brought him on?
No. So I known him since middle school. And I'm actually gonna take him with me to ScoopCon. So he's gonna go too. But I didn't. It was like just a faith thing. When I told him about it, he was scooping. He was the best scooper, and he had a full-time job. And it was so scary because when I called him, what he was making, I couldn't afford to like pay him that like 6 months later. Like it was, hey, we do this, we have to get to work, or I'm gonna run run out of money. But he put his trust in me, and it was those first 3 months full time. I was nervous. Like every lead I could get, I was scooping yards, and if it's only 3 o'clock, I'm passing out 100 flyers. I used to pass out flyers on mailboxes, take them up there, anything possible. I would post in every Facebook group online, every city business page, like every single day, like 50 groups a day, every single day. It was like a do or die type of moment that first 3 months we went full time.
Yeah, because it's I mean, if you don't have money to sink an advertisement, you gotta do the manual work. It's literally what you have to do. Now that your business is so much bigger, you have money to put into advertisement, are you still doing that manual marketing?
We're not. We just spent all our money in Facebook and Google ads. So we're spending about 4,500 a month in
Woo!
ads. So
What does your lead follow-up look like when a lead comes in?
it depends. Our Google is different than Facebook. So I feel like when I get a lead from Google, like it's like 99% going to convert. Like they already know about the service. They've already looked at prices. They've already looked at other companies. They're ready. Like you sign up from Google, you're ready to buy. Facebook, I feel like it's, hey, is this a real thing? And they have all these questions. Like, what's the process like? What is, it's like a full blown process. So, Facebook, when we get a lead in, we try to call, like, it comes in right now. We're trying to call right now, get you on the phone, answer every question you may have, and get you sign up over the phone. If it's through Google, basically, I have it set up where it's automated, where they get like a welcome, hey, thank you for reaching out to Paw Fect Poop Removal. This is the day you selected. You'll receive an invoice. Once it's paid, we'll get you added to the schedule. But Facebook is different. I feel like Google, like if I see a lead from Google, I'm like, okay, here's a new customer. If it's Facebook, I'm like, we'll see. Let's flip a coin and see
Let's see
who.
if they answer the phone when you call or if, like, in the middle of the conversation, if they just text you, like, they just stop texting you. I was just talking to Mark Wise about this earlier. I'm like, "Listen, Facebook leads are okay," but I was like you said, Google, it's, like, almost guaranteed because they've looked you up. You've went through the process. They've looked at your website. They're they're serious.
Mhm. Facebook is it's frustrating, but I mean, you get good cheap leads from Facebook. It
It's true.
just
It's
can you
just more
convert
time
those?
consuming. Yeah, you've gotta be on your game and a hustle, and then especially now with a lot more competition, you really do gotta be on your game.
But I do. If you refer a customer to us, we'll give you $25 off your next bill. So we get a good chunk of people just referring people.
I
Just
like that.
they like $25 off, and when you think of how much it costs to acquire a customer, $25 is typically cheaper. So
How are you communicating that with your customers?
email marketing, we do a lot of email marketing. So they
Would
can
you
get
s
$25 off, or they can get an Amazon gift card for $25. And some people will like wait and they're like, just hold on to it. And then they're waiting until it's like $100 and they're like, okay, send me my $100 Amazon gift card now. And it's like, okay, you just sent me 4 people. So, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
cool
brilliant.
because typically the people that they're referring is inside their neighborhood. So it's just making our routes even more efficient. So I'll give out $25 any day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it sounds like your business is growing quite well, and I know that you are in the community groups, so you get to kinda see, like, there's a lot of newbies coming in, and there's just a lot going on. I mean, I'm not too sure how active you are, but is there something that you're, like, seeing or reading that you think is preventing new business owners from growing in, like, 2025?
Mm, no, I think you can be intimidated by how many people is joining like the group because you see like, hey, I'm blah 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 out of Idaho, like whatever the case may be. So I feel like that's could be intimidating. And then I think seeing what other people are spending to grow their business in your area could be like, oh, I can't compete with that. I think that could be, you know, scary. But I think any new business, they just need to start right away. I see a lot of people saying, "Hey, I want to do this, and I plan to start by this year." No, like start tomorrow. Like not by the end of this year. Or my goal is to get 50 customers. Like you can get 50 customers in a month. Like don't set your goals too small.
Okay, so if somebody wants to get 50 customers, what would you suggest they do right away? Like, what would be your 1 or 2 tips?
Well, one, have a website, because I saw today a post of someone that didn't have a website, and in a group. So I think one, you need to have a website, and then two, start spending money in, if you have the resources, in Facebook and Google Ads, and start building out SEOs. That would be my biggest takeaway.
Yeah,
That's
that
not
I
time consuming.
yeah, well, okay, what if they don't have any money? Would do you think that doing the Facebook posts and the door hangers and the flyers still work today?
Facebook posts instead of the flyers. Any, um, in my area, you have like Helotes business page, Northwest San Antonio, like every single group on Facebook in your area you can find that's like buy and sell groups, post in it almost every day, follow the rules or you're gonna get banned. But I used to have like a notebook of like this group I'm posting in on Tuesdays and this group I'm posting in, and then just post over and over again. And I would actually, when people would like the post, I would send like them like a friend request for my poop page. And then when I'm posting on like the social medias, they would see it. And that was the best. I had 286 customers from just posting in groups in over 2 years.
Are you That's amazing. Are you posting from your personal page or are you posting from your business page?
Both. So I would post from my business page and then also my personal page.
Okay, have you ever, cuz sometimes I would make a post and then I would share that from my personal page into the group. I've done that.
Idea. I like that
Mhm.
idea. I haven't done that. I would post, "Hey, I'm the owner," blah blah blah. Well, when I used to do that, I would say I was a college student trying to pay for college. So
If there's
that
no
would work on
story,
that.
there's no
That was
glory.
that was the emotional appeal. Like, hey, I'm working full time. I'm in college. Help me pay for college. And that was like the first 2 years, and then I stopped doing that. But it worked very well, uh, and all the employees at the times were friends I knew from college, and that was like the story. So like when we would go to houses, it was oh we're just college kids scooping poop to pay for school, and it sold. It was something that sold. People loved it, and it went well.
Because I love to they love to invest in people that are trying to better themselves and be not just productive members of society, but just trying to be better all around. And like my cousin told me that if there's no story, there's no glory, and that always stuck with me. There has to be that emotional connection somehow, some way for them to exchange their hard-earned money with you.
And then I also in San Antonio is military city, and my dad was in the Air Force, so we play that military. We do give military discounts, but we would also say because my best friend, his dad was in the military as well, and that's how we met. So it's like our parents are in the military. You're in the military, you get a discount, and it was almost like 20% of San Antonio is military people. So it it's pros and cons because you always have military people moving. So you
Right.
lose customers, and they're just moving. Like nothing you can do about it. But
Yeah. With you being a numbers person, if you could give like maybe one financial advice tip to somebody that's listening that's kind of just getting started, like what would you give them?
get QuickBooks or another accounting software and start that from day one. Because once you start reconciling your transactions and realizing where money is going, you'll be more aware of where your money is going. It's like a budget for like personal finance, but for your business. When you see, hey, I spent this, why do I have this? Or I had like Adobe subscription, I had a Canva subscription, I had all these subscriptions. I was like, okay, no, delete, 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 delete. And it adds up over time. And as you grow, like I think that's the biggest advice I could give. Uh,
Yeah, it's true. I have a bunch of those too, but I moved like whatever I could over to the social media business because I'm like, okay, Canva can be taken care of with social media. But I was balancing all of my stuff. My husband started a business last year abruptly, It was wild times. But I was like, "Okay, we gotta do our taxes. Give me your QuickBooks. Give me all your stuff." And he's staring at me. And I said, "Please tell me. Please tell me you set up QuickBooks." And he's like, "I didn't." So I got that all set up for him and I balanced it and I was like, "Dude, you know how much money you lost?" I said, "Do you know how much money was taken out of our household?" Um, it was over $50,000 altogether. And so I was like, "We need to have a very serious conversation after tax time." And so with my business, I got it tight, I got it right. Obviously, there's issues, there's things that I need to tighten up in certain areas, but I've been able to track that. But he had no idea. He had no idea, and it was a huge eye opener for him. And he's like, "I don't even know if I wanna continue this because of how much money was lost."
So I think if you start from day one, you see that at the very beginning and not a year in. So funny story. Well, it's not funny. I built a relationship with a mechanic for the entire time I had the company. And I moved to Austin last year to expand to Austin. So I would just have my guys take it to the shop and he would just do the work. Hey, this is how much it costs. The guys just paid it with their card. And we had like an influx of like issues with trucks. Like almost every other week, I had a truck going to the shop for something. And I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. So after doing like investigation, like all the transactions, they were repairing the same thing multiple times for the same truck. So I lost a lot of money just due to me. Just I trust this person. I've known him for, well, I didn't know him, but I've been bringing you all the business. I just wouldn't think you would do that. So if I would have kept a better eye on that part, I would have saved so much money. Like I would replace like coolant hoses, and then a month later, like I need a new radiator or something else that was it was all tied together. Like I did a brake job, and then a full brake job, rotors, brakes, and then 3 or 4 months later, that same truck needed just like brake pads again. So um, that was a big thing that I had to. It sucked. I found a new mechanic and everything,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was I was heated. But
Did you
if I
leave him a
was came to
negative Google review?
it was solved. This I didn't leave a review, but once I got my data all put together and I showed up to his the owner's door, everything was fixed. So, but it's just something for me. Don't get content just because you know someone or been doing business with someone for so long. Just always double check everything. And I just got content. Like, hey, take it to this person. Good people. If he says this is what's needed, just do it. Because I couldn't do it. I'm in Austin. I can't take the trucks to the shop. And you built that trust in. Sometimes it backfires. But
Yeah, and that sucks, but it's like you said, you just kinda you have to keep your eye on stuff, and I'm looking at it as, like, you have to be, like, a good steward of your money, you have to be a good steward of your resources, and even though you wanna trust people, it's always good to check in, make sure everything's going alright.
it was, it is. And then also like donations too. Like when I first started making, more money, it was like, oh, I'll donate to this. Oh yeah, I'll sponsor like a golf tournament, and because I want to go play in this golf tournament, I just spent $1,500 to go play, 18 holes. And like, did I get one customer for this, or did I just want to go play at a nice golf course? So just once you start seeing, okay, I spent this on this sponsorship, was it worth it? What did I get out of it? Versus,
Exactly, and if anybody reaches out to you to lock you into a contract for advertisement on the radio, in a magazine, some type of pamphlet, or on the back of a scorecard for the golf course, I'm gonna say boldly, do not, I repeat, do not do it and do not sign any contracts.
don't do it. Don't do it. I actually had someone from like a Anytime Fitness reach out for to run on like the TVs, and I'm not doing it. But
No, it's from what I've noticed, Facebook, Google, Nextdoor app, the door hangers, yard signs, making that personal connection is the way to go.
And SEOs. So like
Oh,
any small cities within like your city, you should be ranking for. So like Helotes Pooper Scooper, San Antonio Pooper Scooper, Alamo Heights. You know, like those small cities within the big city, just so you can rank higher. And I think SEOs, we get like 30 signups a month from organic people just finding us on Google without like ad spend. So it's been very well.
okay. So with your SEO, I don't really understand much about SEO, so I don't even know how to ask the proper questions. Are you having somebody behind the scenes build that in, or is it just okay?
Yeah, I pay someone to build out the landing pages. So like there's multiple landing pages within the city, if that makes sense.
I just got my first landing page today.
Oh, so we have like 100 landing pages. So I think it's great investment. It takes some time to see results. Like Google Ads, you're gonna get results. Like you run ads today, you're gonna get signups today. SEO, it takes time, and Google reviews, you want to up your Google reviews. I think there's a lot of people that are helping with Google, like review harvest and
Mhm.
uh, nice job. I've seen all those, but I think all those is play a key factor.
Yeah, in the beginning, I just asked for them manually. I had a copy and paste, and then once I started making a little bit of money, then I used Nice Job. And then when Clay came onto the scene, and I seen how great he was doing, and then I had a conversation with Clay. He's wonderful. I was like, of course, I would love to move over to you, and I love what you're doing. So, all
Yeah.
right, well, cool. This was a really fun conversation. If the listeners want to keep in touch with you, where can they find you?
You can follow us on social media, Paw Fect Poop Removal, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're there.
Ooh, TikTok. I'll have to follow you over on TikTok. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you tuning in. I try to drop an episode every Monday. And until next time, bye.